someone wants to hear a comprehensive update on the farm, I'm going to do an episode on that as we get through this summer and we see how the weather treats us. There was a fun fact that isn't so fun that I pulled up here today. So I had a gentleman help me plant some trees, and he mentioned that his family in 1988 planted a bunch of trees for CRP. They all died. And it was because it was a very dry year. And they did water them, and that had me nervous. And then sure enough, here's the fact for Illinois, where I'm at. The period from April 1st to June 10th was the second driest on record ever recorded as a whole in Illinois. So it's 1988 is the worst, 2023 is the second worst. And that's bad because I planted a bunch of trees this year. So that's what we're working with. When I was planting them, I was, once again, out of our control. So we're gonna roll with it and do what we can. Another person suggested timber harvest information. This is a topic that I find fascinating and also intimidating. Every time I think I learn a little bit more, I realize I know a lot less. And I think that is the perfect illustration of timber and the importance of hiring a private forester to help you through a timber sale, because it is so darn complex. The markets move very fast, and I've just heard all sorts of different stories. And the common theme there is hire a forester and rely on them. That's what they do for a profession. And by doing so, you're going to understand a little bit more. You're going to get a fair shake, and then you can look at multiple bids and pick out whatever one makes the most sense. And we've had guests on here talk about that, and I think that is a common theme that has gone through these first 100 episodes, and I would rely on that. But I do think it would be awesome to get some guys on here to share some more information. I've walked ground with loggers. I've walked ground with other people who know way more than me. And every time I walk a piece, I learn a lot more. And as a guy that's just walking off the street, I would have almost zero level of confidence that you'll understand it, because it is very complex. We have another question, a really good one. Balancing hunting land with other recreation like cabin amenities to please the wife. I think this is a good thing to consider, and this is something that I talk with all my clients, and then people, this is a theme amongst guests as well, but understanding what their goals are. And so if your goal is to have a multi-purpose recreational farm, then I think those expectations have to align with your goals. That, let's say the potential for deer hunting on that piece is a 8 out of 10, but you also want to recreate on it, and maybe you guys want to hike on it all the time, then you just have to realize that maybe the potential is an 8, but with those other activities, maybe that drops it down to a 6. And if you're good with that, then you're good with that. And if you're not, then there's a lot of public ground to walk and hike and maybe get a cabin to rent every now and then. But in all seriousness, though, I think that's a huge thing, because once again, it's a really big purchase, and it's excellent to get your whole family involved. And if you wanted to build a cabin or put in a pond, I would have that go into a place that hopefully isn't going to limit your deer hunting potential or impact it too negatively. But it's on a scale and a spectrum, and there's a give and take on every decision we make, and that would be one of them. Just to be really realistic with what you're doing on the farm may impact other aspects of it. But I think that's really important. Another question, plus or minus of less than 20% down. I see some banks offering 10 to 15%. That's a huge misconception that I think a lot of guests that we've had on that are first-time land buyers, or people that I've talked to personally, is there's this conditioning that you need to have 20 to 30 to 40% down. And I've preached this so many times that people are probably sick of hearing it, but shop around for a bank as intensely as you shop for a parcel. And you're going to find a great bank that is going to walk you through the process, that's going to teach you. And once you have them as a resource, they will be invaluable throughout the process. For that first piece, and maybe if you end up buying another one, just finding a good bank that you can talk to, walk through multiple scenarios, understand the different loan products they have, like we were just talking about long-term fixed rates or ARM loans, and understanding different down payments, is all of that is key. And then there's ways where you pay your mortgage monthly, or maybe annually, biannually, quarterly. And so there's so many different options out there. And I would say lenders are tightening up a little bit. I think banks are getting a little bit nervous. Obviously, in the headlines of like a Silicon Valley Bank, which is a totally different situation than what basically all of us can relate to. But I feel that as space and talking to different lenders, they have tightened up a little bit. They've gotten a little bit more nervous. So that's just something to understand if you're just getting started in this, that um, banks are just going to be a little bit more stringent maybe than what they were. And obviously they have to follow guidelines and everything else, but I would just keep that in the back of your mind and call multiple banks. Some of the large lenders are going to be able to give you a long-term fixed rate, but it's going to come with a higher down payment more than likely, and also a little higher interest rate. And then some of these other smaller banks where it may be a little bit easier to get a loan through them, there may be more flexibility there. The interest rate may be a little bit higher. And so I think understanding what your goals are and what you're capable of doing from a financial position all go into making a good decision. And the more options you have, the more information you have, the better decision you can make. So I think that's really what it boils down to. And that's for everything throughout anyone's land journey.